Well, that was just the end of a great 6 days up here in San Bernardino. 9 practices, all very, very good practices. We've had 16 practices now, and I was telling the guys I can't remember in my 5 years doing this with this team ever being as efficient and competitive and cooperative and being as far along as we are after 16 practices as I feel like we are today. We've stayed relatively healthy. They've worked incredibly hard. They've been focused. Practices have been efficient. We haven't had issues, and I just like the direction we're going in. So I'm really pleased. I think it's a credit to the players. They've really grown up, matured, accepted what we've tried to emphasize, and they're applying it. And I'm just really proud of these guys. So we kind of move into the next phase now, which is we're out of our camp mode. We're not quite into season mode. So we're still working on some of our own stuff. We'll start to incorporate some Texas A&M things into our work next week, and then we'll get going. So we'll be excited to be back on campus again. But I think these 6 days out here were really good for us. I think it was the right decision to just come out here for 6 days because the energy stayed positive the whole time. So I'm really pleased with where we are.
Is there one group of guys that were most pleased with offense, defense, or special teams, or everybody with the most growth?
I was, when we were standing down there, I was trying to pick out a couple players that I thought had maybe stood out, like one. I was trying to think of one that could break the team down for the last practice, and I came up with a bunch. And I think it's the same thing with the groups. I think there's still, the unknown, probably the most unknown group is the receivers, because we lost our top 3 receivers from last year. And what they've shown through 16 practices is a real capability to step up and do some tremendous things. And it doesn't surprise me, so I don't want to put it like it surprised me, but it's impressed me. It's impressed me. Other than that, I think that everyone's just working well.
Has it impressed you that Ish has been able to pick up the offensive stuff as quickly as he has? Because he hadn't really done it since high school.
Once again, it hasn't surprised me, but it's impressed me, yes. Yes, it has impressed me. And I love the energy he brings to the offense as well. I mean, he's a competitor, he's a fighter, and he brings that to that huddle, to that group, to that unit. And I really love that about him. The thing that's impressed me is, besides the fact that he's picked up the playbook, is how consistently he's caught the ball. Because it's different when you're a defensive back and a receiver, and he's done a really nice job. He runs good routes, he's getting off the press. You see me handling the ball some. I love his energy, I love his toughness, and I love his character. So I'm really excited about the way things are going with him at receiver.
Do you have a starting middle linebacker right now?
No, it's between those 3 guys still. I think they're all 3 capable. I'm talking about Sacco, Kenny, and LePenny, and I think they're all really good players, which is a real plus for us. But every day one of them kind of does something, and it's pretty even overall though right now.
Deshaun Holiday, we saw him the last couple of days at outside linebacker. What's the thought process behind that switch? Is it permanent?
I don't know. It's a good question. Is anything permanent? We were a little light at linebacker. He's 6'3", 217 pounder who's like fighting to stay at 217. He could easily get up to 230 and look normal. He's got length, which we like. He's kind of built like you'd like a Sam linebacker to be. He's a very versatile guy. He can play safety, he can play linebacker, he can play receiver. But if we like him at linebacker after the next few days, and I think that's probably where we'll leave him because of the weight issue, letting him gain weight. He just wants to help. He just wants to play. He just wants to be on the field. I think that he'll have a really prominent role for us on special teams, no matter if he's at safety or at linebacker. But right now, the plan is to keep him at linebacker and see how he does.
How would you grade out your true freshman specialists?
Can I just wait till we have a game? But through camp, I've been very impressed with them all. Johnny, as a snapper, is going to be really, really good. He's consistent. He can give the hold of the laces on almost every PAT field goal, which is important. JJ, the last few days, has really picked it up. Really, really picked it up, kicking the ball. Andrew's done well, and then, Austin booms him. Now today, he only had 2 punts or 3 punts, 4 punts, and they weren't very good. But those are the only four punts I've seen that I can remember all camp. I mean, the ball just jumps off his foot. So I've been impressed with him. But let's see how they do in front of 105 people instead of just trees and mountains and a few fans.
How close to the opener do you want to have all these decisions about the last starting spots decided?
Well, like what spots?
Like middle linebacker.
Well, that's the only spot, really.
Right.
But you know what? Even if we, everyone wants to kind of have like a starting lineup, but the reality of the situation is there's more than one starter. Like if you look at our secondary, I could probably give you 4 starters, or I could give you 8 starters, or I could give you like 10 starters. And no matter which match, which group was in there, we'd be comfortable with them. I don't know who's going to run out of the tunnel. I don't know who's going to run out to the huddle the first time at middle linebacker, but I don't know if that's that important in the general scheme of things. It's important to them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But in terms of how we're going to play them, they're both going to play, or they're all 3 going to play. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm not really worried about this is the guy. I like the competition. I'd like to keep it going all season. They're all 3 capable. They're all 3 good players. And Kenny. The reason Kenny's been able to compete with those guys is because he's so mature. He came in and he just had a different attitude than you'd expect a freshman to have. It's really impressive.
Where are you guys on the injury front now?
Well, I think we're in pretty good shape. We gave Eddie a couple days just because he's coming off the knee, so there's nothing there. He's just sore. There's nothing there. Jacob, you saw Jacob was out here today, not suited up. He's taking the antibiotics, and we're going to reassess where he is after a couple of days. Hopefully that takes for him. Deion Hollins was out here today, not doing anything, but I think he'll be back at it Monday. But if there's any residual in his head, then we're going to keep him out for a while. Cam's been up here, same thing with him. Hopefully he'll be able to do some things Monday, but if not, we'll take our time with him. Cam Griffin I'm talking about. Paco is really close to being back. Marcus Mora is not. We're gonna really, he's gonna redshirt. He's not gonna play for a while. We're just gonna, working through that back injury. I don't know who else there is. I don't. Tack will be back Monday. Just a little sore.
Austin Roberts is out today.
He's nauseous this morning, so I think he'll be back Monday. Yeah, we should be in pretty good shape Monday. We should be in good shape.
You guys brought in a pretty long list of true freshmen. What's the process like in terms of determining who's going to be able to see the field early on in the season and kind of looking at red shirts and all that sort of stuff?
It's a tough one, Obviously, if a guy can help you win a game, then you want to use him, whether it's on special teams or offense or defense. But the one thing you don't want to do is, waste a season and only have a guy play 10 plays, or 2 plays in a game for 12 games, 20. It just doesn't make sense. So, we come in here, there's no expectations that, hey, this guy's definitely going to redshirt, except for a guy like Marcus Mora who's fighting us. But through the course of the last 2 weeks and then this next week, we'll start to get a feel. Like, for instance, the running backs. We've got 3 really good starting running backs. It's kind of like, who's the starter? Well, I don't know. They're all the starter. But you also have Brandon Stevens, who's had a remarkable camp, and Jalen Starks, who gives you something really special. Well, they'll travel. And, depending on how it's going, if we have to use them, we'll use them. But once we decide to start using them, then we're going to use them. And I think that's the best thing for them, and it's the best thing for us. But our primary objective is to win games. It's always going to be based on winning now.
Any of the other freshmen impressed you so far? Maybe Jordan Wilson?
A lot of them. Where should I start? We talked about the 3 specialists. Theo, Audie. Those guys have done a really nice job. The last week, Alloway has really come on. Jordan Wilson, we haven't had a body like that around here for a while at that position. He's really impressed us. Michael Alves has impressed us. Now, Alex Akambula, he'll be a guy that'll redshirt for sure because he needs to gain weight, but he's impressed me a lot. I said those 2 running backs. Even though Paco hasn't done anything on the field, just through the summer program, that guy's going to be a heck of a player for us someday. We talked about Kenny. I think Kenny's going to be a really good player. I think that Osa Odigizua is going to be a really good player. Chikozi, and he's not a freshman, but he's a JC guy that we haven't talked much about. I think he can add something to us. I think that you have to look at Brandon Burton as a guy that could probably do some things on special teams. He makes plays at the ball. We see that. I don't know about the other freshman DBs. The linebackers, you know, I think Breland, you know, he's got the type of body that we'd like to use on special teams. So maybe he does some things for us. You know, we talked about Kenny. Chris Barnes, I'm not sure. You know, I really like him. I think he's really athletic. If he can do some things on special teams. But other than that, you know, we'll maybe try to see how it goes for him. But I don't want to write anyone off yet, other than, like I said, Alex and Marcus. So, and I'm writing them off's the wrong thing to say. You know, development.
Today's kind of the halfway point between the starter camp and Texas A&M. Do you feel like you're on progression to be where you want to be as far as that goes?
I do, and I'll tell you why. Is, you know, we've done a lot of situational work, so I feel like we could go play a game right now and function. Now, you know, are our techniques developed enough? No. You know, have we had enough time just, you know, throwing the ball back and forth? No. You know, but we're going to get that over the next couple of weeks. You know, we'll really zero in on what we're going to be, you know, utilizing early in the season. But in terms of like functioning and going and playing a game, I think we're in great shape, and I think their mindset's in a great place. So now it's just continuing to, you know, sharpen the spear and hone things up.
Cam Judge said yesterday that this is his best camp that he's been at as a Bruin. Is that something that you kind of agree with, that it's been your best camp in a while?
Ours or his?
Or, yeah, his.
Yes. Ours too, and his, yes. He's a different guy. You know, he was a team captain last year on special teams. Now he's a starting linebacker for us as well. He's matured. He understands his role. He's, you know, on our leadership group. He's just a guy that players respect, and I think that he had a great offseason. He gained weight, and it's funny, you know, these guys all kind of reach that manhood threshold at a different time, or that maturity at a different time, where they figure it out and it clicks for them. It's done that for Jordan Remsen Camp, and I'm excited about him. You know, he's a tough kid, and he's a good player, and he cares about this team, and his teammates really respect him.
All right, thanks, Jim.